Are we live? Someone tell me that we're live. Por favor. Look, guys, it will be my first live stream for a while, so please go easy on me if you are joining me from anywhere around the world. Please check in and tell me where you are from. That would be great. We're here to preview, the Brazilian Grand Prix. So that's exactly what I want to do in this video. So like I say, it's something new for the channel. I want you guys to let me know, like, in the chat, like, what time works for you guys. Do you think a preview would be better than a review? Yeah, where are you from? What do you want to see? How can we do, like, do you want it to be a Q&A? You guys are going to have to let me know here and guide guide the direction of the channel moving forward. So I will be relying on you in this live stream. So we've got a couple of points on my phone here. So we're just going to get to the Brazilian preview in a sec, but firstly, I just want to give a few channel updates. So we do have a new members only section in the channel. I made that this morning, and it's essentially a place where you can get more access to me, ask me more questions, get a little more insight, and learn a little bit more about the mindset of a coach like myself, if that's something you're interested in. And of course, you want to learn a little bit more about the sport as well. So there's two tiers. The first tier, you'll get a badge next to your name so that when we do live streams like this one, or in the comments section of any videos, I'll answer your questions first. And hopefully as the channel grows and I do get a lot of questions, then absolutely, that's something that I'll be looking for, is like, who has the badge, who's asking a question. I can help you guys out. Members only polls. Like I said before, I'm going to reach out to you for your opinion on certain topics, like what you want to see moving forward, what drivers you would like me to analyze, what tracks you're interested in learning about, a little more understanding on race strategy. You guys can pretty much have your say in that sense with the first tier membership. And I'm going to give out like a monthly tip of the month as well. I already put it out for anyone that's a member currently, that in this chat, but moving forward, it's going to be a monthly tip of the month where I give out like a tip. And I basically said the point that it wasn't worth Max not giving the place back to Lando. I know a lot of people think Lando had the fastest car and he probably would have gone on to win the race. But in this particular case, I feel like you control your actions, and then you let the world spin and the rest be what it be, because that's all speculation. Whereas I think if Max had have gave that place back, he was guaranteed 10 extra points for sure. He would have finished in front of the Mercedes. So that was my tip, was like, choose your battles. I also put in the tip that I think Lando should have stayed in that position and not opened the steering and got out of that. For those of you guys that saw my interview with Cameron CC, that's exactly what I said, was someone's got to take it to Max. Someone's got to be the one that says, I'm here, I'm going to fight, let's go, like, let's lock horns, let's dig our feet into the ground. You are not going to push me around like you've pushed around every other Formula One driver. I am here and I'm ready to compete from this position. That's what I was looking for from Lando, given that he got himself into a strong position. So look, that was the theme or the tip for this month's monthly insight and monthly tip. There is a second tier for the membership as well, and we're going to do like I want to do like sessions with you guys where you can get access to, not in this format, like a live stream where I'll host a session and I'll go over to the whiteboard and we can really run through like some of the lines, some of the details, look at the telemetry together. I'll do a monthly education session on Microsoft Teams. If you're interested in that, then that's an option for you as well. But look, you don't have to. It's just if you want to support the channel and get a little bit closer to the knowledge that I have. So yeah, that's just a quick update for the channel. I also put a new video out on the rules and regulations as well, and what it all means moving forward. The whole first at the apex piece. I like the first at the apex piece, and I think it should be included as part of, as part of the set of regulations. And what I tried to say in that video was, we should be working out who's entitled to space. And yeah, first at the apex counts for something, but it's not everything. It's not like the holy gospel of who's entitled to space, because you could be first at the apex, but you're not on the inside. Or where is the apex? Is it different? Or how much speed? You could be first to the apex, but then dive bombing like what Max was doing, carrying too much speed in. So I think who is entitled to space should be the overarching theme, and it should include, some of the things that we've spoken about like already. So where is the apex? Where is it defined? Where is it being measured? Where's the start? Where's the finish? Who's on the inside? For me, that's the most important thing. I love the inside. I would fight and compete for the inside. I was disappointed to see Franco actually pull to the outside when he was attacking Liam Lawson. I didn't think that was the play, Franco, but he'll learn, obviously, depending on what coaches he has around him. And obviously who's first to the apex as well. That just naturally helps you. So I thought Lando should have competed for that position. Anyway, I digress. Let's have a look at the chat and see if you've got any questions already. So you want to do a Q&A? Henry Willems, hello to you. Kwanaza Frank, thoughts on Verstappen engine penalty? This is a good question. It's interesting that they've taken it here. I suspect that they're thinking it's going to be easy to pass or easier to pass. I spoke about the overtaking delta in previous videos. I'm not sure if you guys heard that. Like, what is the overtaking delta? What does it mean? How to use it? I'll just give a quick summary now. The overtaking delta is basically how much faster do you need to be than the car in front in order to overtake them. Now, on some tracks, like let's say in Austin, that might be half a second or 0.6 of a second, which means if you're doing 20.6, I need to do 20.0 in order to have a shot at overtaking. Whereas in Monaco, for example, it could be 3 or 4 seconds, which means if you're running 1 minute 17s, I need to run 1 minute 14s in order to have a crack at overtaking you into the Nouvelle Chicane. So I'm giving you 2 examples there, but every track has a different number. The smaller the overtaking delta, the more chance and opportunity for overtaking. If the overtaking delta is smaller here in Brazil, absolutely. My thoughts on Verstappen taking the engine panel would be, if you want to pop a new engine in, go for it. If the overtaking delta here is low enough. So that's a combination of things, guys. That's like straight length and DRS length and braking zones and aero wash. How much aero wash do the cars get? And every track has a different overtaking delta. This is a race strategy thing, guys, that I'm talking about here now. So it's not like, it's not like a driving technique thing, but all the teams and engineers will look at this. To that end, I was very surprised when Oscar Piastri put the mediums on. Like, what are those guys doing? Sometimes it just amazes me, the race strategists. And also I was surprised that Franco was saying in Austin, I had to really convince my race engineer to put the hard tires on starting P15. He's like, they didn't want to do it, but I had to convince them. And then finally they listened to me. So I think we give them too much credit sometimes in Formula One. It's a frustration that I'm dealing with at the moment. So bear with me. So thoughts on Verstappen, engine penalty incoming. Guys, I need to get better at this. So I'm going to pin, how do I pin message? Yeah, I'll pin the message that I'm answering. Okay. So that's the one that I'm answering right now, is with regards to the overtaking delta. Piggyback, good to have you in. Brazil is one of the strongest tracks for Norris. Is it? I'm not brushed up on where Lando's finished. I know Ferrari are going to go there. Yep. So Metro Vroom Ferrari win in Brazil. I think so as well. I'm going to get onto that in my notes. Let me check if that was my next point. Look, why don't we tackle it now? I think Ferrari will win in Brazil. I'm going to pin your comment there, my friend. Low speed front end grip, which the red car seems to have for days. If you're new to Formula One and you're wondering like, why has the order changed recently? Why was it like Red Bull dominating and then McLaren dominating and now it's Ferrari not dominating, but seems to have the upper hand at the moment? I believe it's because the Red Bull had their little braking tool, whatever that was, that rear brake that helped them rotate the car in the slow speed. Those days are over. That party's over. That was finished. McLaren had their little mini DRS piece as well. Do you remember that? That helped them so much in Baku and Monza. They were dominating in those tracks, guys. That party is now over as well. And we're back to a more sort of normal, like no one's got any trick stuff on their cars. So the Ferrari is a good car. It's probably been the best car. I'd say it's a championship worthy car. It's just that the drivers have realized it a little bit late and they've only showed up in the last quarter of the season. So Ferrari win in Brazil, I agree, and I would see you that and raise you this. I would say they're going to win in Vegas as well. I think once we get to Qatar, probably start to suit the McLaren a little bit more. But I think for the next 2 rounds at least, we're going to be looking at a Ferrari strong showing. Give me a sec. All right, CR44. Let me replace your question here. Replace pin message. This is a good one. Question: are drivers pushing 100% on their quali runs from FP1 and their faster times in quali as a result of track evolution, high engine modes, or do they leave a little bit in the tank? So you're talking about the quali simulations in practice and their fastest times in quali as a result of track evolution. Yeah. I think you're talking about the quali runs in practice as compared to the actual qualifying run in qualifying itself. I'd say they're close. I mean, it depends on the track. In Monaco's and stuff like that, no. You've got to just chill out and build up to it. The last thing you want to do is stick the car in the wall on your first qualifying exploration in Monaco. The guys have got to rebuild the car. It's dramas. Like, you don't want that. So on those tracks, no. But on tracks like Qatar, where there's room and space for days, you can pretty much throw the car into the corner and whatever happens, happens. You might as well press up and try to find that limit for qualifying. I'd say yes on those tracks. But like on the street circuits, also places like Melbourne, no way. You'd be just leaving a little bit under your belt. And then Q1, Q2, Q3, the final run in Q3, you push the chips into the table, mate, and just send it. Daniel Taboda, nice to have you here with us. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Interlagos is where legends are made, and it's going to rain this weekend. I've got that on my notes, my good friend. The rain in Interlagos. Let's talk about that. Guys, I had some notes for this video, and you guys are smashing it, so it's good to see that I've got a good audience. I was going to talk about who was going to win. So I have Ferrari here. What impact the sprint race weekend would have. I had that on my notes as well. The weather, which Daniel, thank you. You've already done that. So I guess I was going to talk about race strategy as well. So I guess we don't need this. I'm just going to read you guys' chats as you ask me questions and go from there. So yes, it will rain this weekend. Give me a quick sec. I'm just going to bring up the weather quickly and have a look at it. And let's have a look. So Sao Paulo. Is anyone from around that area and they can tell us, like, does it, I know it rains and it rains pretty heavy, but can anyone tell us, like, you know, what's happening there with the weather? I'd love to know. Saturday and Sunday looks like rain, so it's going to be dramas, guys. One of my tips for this weekend is to stay out of trouble. Like, if you're Franco Colapinto or you're Max Verstappen, you're in good positions in the championship, everyone likes you, everything's going well, stay out of trouble, please. Keep the car pointing forward and on the black stuff. That's pretty much all you need to do, because it's going to be chaos. It's going to be wet. It's going to be sprint. There's going to be drama at turn one. There'll be front wings and pieces of carbon flying everywhere. It's just important to, like, keep it clean and see the checkered flag. Williams Racing have a weather watch for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Why don't we have a quick look at that? Will there be a storm in Sao Paulo? Discover the weather for this weekend's race in Brazil. Interlagos, yep. But will we see? Sao Paulo, here we go. Friday. So FP1 and sprint qualifying for Friday. The forecast is sunny and warm. Highest temperature of 25. So pretty warm conditions. When was the last time we saw conditions that warm? I mean, Vegas is going to be cold. Was it warm in Austin? I'm not sure. It was probably warm in Austin. Hey, I'm not sure, guys. So I'm not up to date actually with the temperatures. But anyway, 25 on Friday. I digress. So Saturday sprint, we've got clear in the morning and light showers in the afternoon. So that's going to be dramas, guys. So that's for the qualifying session for the main race. For the main race on Sunday, we've got a sunny start and clouding over as the day goes on, 30%. So we're looking at most likely Saturday rain, which is the sprint and qualifying. So that's according to Williams F1. We should take that with a grain of salt, because these are the guys that wanted to start Franco on the medium tires in Austin. So maybe we should double check. There's a saying I like to live by, which says trust but verify as well. So It's pretty much saying don't trust. Do your own verification. So let's do our own verification just quickly and see, because I don't trust Williams. What do we got? What do we got? I'm just going to quickly read the chat as well and see if anyone's there in Sao Paulo who likes the rain. Austin was hot. Yeah, I thought it was hot. Yeah, so Ferrari going to go well. Whenever it's hot, if you're struggling with understeer like a Max Verstappen was and Lando Norris was, it's going to exaggerate. Remember, you've got that long left-hander and long right-hander in the middle of the track, middle sector, slow speed. It's going to kill that Red Bull over the race. So I think that Max will be quick in qualifying. He always seems to be. But on the race on Sunday, damage limitation settings once again for Max and that Red Bull. If anyone's got a different forecast to that I just read out, let me know. But I've got Saturday, most of the rain is coming. All right, let's have a look. My commentary is fantastico. Muchas gracias. Can you do a short versus long corner driver video, pros and cons? Oof, I actually do have a video on this one, mate. Let me just pin your message. So this is Max Flash Hart. I actually do have a video on this. Go through my channel, the My Philosophy section, and check that out. It's where I talk about Rob Wilson, Peter Windsor, short corners, tight lines. I don't talk about the actual drivers, but it would seem at the moment that Franco's driving quite tight lines together with Charles and Lewis. They're probably the only three that I can see. I'm not watching like Liam Lawson or Yuki Tsunoda. I can't. Alex Albon, I haven't seen. Just sometimes I see and then I can put them in a category, but like I don't have all of the access to be able to have a look. Madam, we want to know, Tronco, is that Franco? Give me a sec. Let me just pin this message as well. Tronco moving to be a Verstappen partner next year. I love this idea. It looks like Max likes more Franco than Liam. It's got to do with Carlos Slim. So he's the one putting the money behind Checo. He's the one keeping Checo in that seat. So the question will be, does he have a South American interest? Can he pull that money out of Checo and put that behind Franco? In which case then Franco could be looking at a Red Bull seat. I still feel like it's too early for Franco, to be honest. There's a few things that I saw in Mexico where I was like you're not ready to challenge for a championship yet. And you don't want to put them into a position like Alex Albon, Pierre Gasly, who else was alongside Max that struggled? Daniel was there. And so that's a hot seat next to Max Verstappen. So if I was Franco's advising manager, I would be like, not just now. You don't want to go there now because it'll be dramas moving forward. So I'd be happy to see Franco stay and they promote, like they do a shootout between Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda, promote whoever they want to promote there. Franco stays in the Williams. I don't know. Let's see what happens, but that's what's happening. It's the Carlos Slim money that's kind of got the upper hand at the moment. All right, Henry Williams on the penalty. I guess Red Bull will be able to run the engine on max power compared to the rest. Yes, that's true. That could give them advantage for the final three races, especially on power tracks like Qatar and Vegas. Yeah, good point. It's a good point. These are power tracks, particularly, I mean, all of them, but yeah, particularly Qatar. The full throttle time in Qatar is outrageous. Like it's such a drain. So yes, I think, but here's the thing, right? Qatar's all high speed. I think the Red Bull's okay in that area. When it's high downforce, high speed settings, I think the Red Bull's fine. I think, it's more of a mechanical grip issue. And when I say mechanical, I'm talking about suspension geometry, roll center, ride height, tire pressures, camber casters, weight distribution, front and rear, pull rod versus push rod. It's all in that car geometry section. Whereas the aerodynamics, they take over in tracks like Qatar and Japan and stuff. So I don't expect there to be too many dramas for Red Bull in Qatar, despite all the engines. But yes, it's a good point, mate. Like this is full throttle settings coming up here. So yes, rain is going to be amazing if not too wet. Martin, with the rain, everything is possible. Max and Lewis are very good. We're going to see what Franco can do in these conditions. Absolutely. Yep. That's a great point. I'll pin your message. So Franco in the wet. what does he know about how to drive a Formula One car in the wet? If I can just give a little bit of tips and advice, not many drivers are good in the wet. You'd be surprised how many actually study where the grip is, where the lines are, what they need to do with the braking and so on. It still works in a similar way to the dry. That is, when downforce is active, you can push the pedals harder. When downforce is not active, you need to be a little bit more gentle and progressive. But one of the key things in the wet is you need front tire temperature. And in order to get front tire temperature, you need front brake temperature. You've got to remember, guys, the brakes is actually embedded inside the hub and the wheel itself. So if you can just get good braking and get comfortable with braking, you're good for tire temperature, because the brakes are like, because of their location inside the wheel, they get so hot, they help heat up the tires from the inside, which is exactly what you want. So that's a tip I can give in the wet for Brazil. Focus on front brake temperature and therefore front tire temperature. And watch Max Verstappen 2016. Who remembers that God tier drive? Obviously, that's where it's at. So there is a few tips for Mr. Franco in the wet. But yes, let's see how he goes. We'll see what sort of talent he has. He's going to be earning his money if it rains in Sao Paulo. Austin was hot. Okay, Max, you got a bunch of questions here. Okay, sweet. Cheers, my friend. Sending the best wishes from Argentina. Muchas gracias a toda la gente de Argentina que está aquí con nosotros. Can you comment on something on the lift and coast on different tracks and their undulations? Is this relevant in Brazil? Oof, what a question. Let me pin that. That is a banger question. David B, where'd you whip this one from, my friend? Like, that's top level question. Okay, so I see what you're getting at, because you've obviously got a good grasp on lift and coast. And you're trying to now ask, does it matter for the different tracks and their undulations? I mean, an undulation will always work in your advantage, right? Or will it not? So if you're going downhill, then it's obviously, I think an undulation will always work in your advantage. Let's say Austin turn 1. If you lift and coast up there, obviously, because it's uphill, you're going to get some braking, like gravitational braking, which is good. That means it's not going to hurt you too much, right? And you can do that later. If you do it downhill and you lift off, then the car's got momentum and you're not going to lose any lap time either. So now I'm just trying to validate, is it true then for the uphill? Because you might want to be, I don't know. It's actually, I've never thought about it with regards to elevation. That's a good question. That's why I pinned it. But look, I have a good grasp on the lift and coast. Obviously, it's something you want to be doing at the end of long straights and using the downforce to wipe off the speed of the car. And you want to save fuel. That's the most important thing. So if I can give you guys an understanding of fuel strategy, in Mexico, we got a safety car for the first 5 laps. Let's call it, I don't know, lap 2 to lap 7 or something. That saves fuel. That means if you started the race with exactly the amount of fuel as per laps that you needed, you would be now overfueled and you'd be driving around racing other cars with excess fuel. So you need to embed that into your fuel strategy. What's the chance of rain? What's the chance of safety car? What's the chance we're going to get traffic or double yellows or some dramas that means we can't go full throttle? And then how much should we underfill? Obviously, if that drama doesn't come, yes, to your point, David B, we need to do a little bit of manual fuel saving as well. And yeah, I think elevation can help for the most part. I'm just trying to think that it's like, let me know your thoughts on that, David B. Chuck another question, chuck another message in the live chat for me, and let me know whether you think that it's the lift and coast would be more effective downhill versus uphill. I feel like downhill, right? But then you want to be braking, so the uphill can also help you because you generally lift to do some braking or wipe off some speed. So it's a good question, mate. I haven't thought of that. So, mate, I got a sharp audience already. Let's talk about race strategy. So the tires that they're bringing are the C3, C4, and C5, if I'm not mistaken. Give me a sec. I'm just going to Google it. Tire compounds for Brazil F1 GP. Yeah, no worries, David. Let me know what you think on that. It's a great question, mate. Jeez. Tire compounds for the 2024 Brazilian Grand Prix will be the C3, C4, and C5. So we've got the softest compounds in the range, and we've got a short pit lane, and it's probably going to be likely possible to overtake as compared to maybe Mexico. I mean, it was possible in Mexico, but it's challenging. I'd go with, I'm thinking two stop. I don't know. I'm just leaning that way at the moment. I'm thinking that with the softest compounds and the pit lane being not too long, I'm thinking two stop. So then the question is, what two stop? Obviously, when you two stop, it's good because you can the hard sort of doesn't become the tire of choice then, right? So you're looking at more soft, medium, for example. So you can run a really quick race. Now you've only got 4 mediums in the whole race, like the pool of tires this weekend. You've got 4 mediums and I think 6 softs. So if you're going to use a soft in the race, then you've only got 5 for your 2 qualifyings, your SQ1, SQ2, SQ3, and your Q1, Q2, Q3. Your 6 quali sessions, you've only got 5 softs. So that's why you see them do, they run the medium in the first session of SQ1. So I'm leaning towards 2-stop at the moment, just based on the fact that we've got the softest compounds. It's also more helpful. Is it more helpful in the rain? No, it's probably better to 1-stop if it starts raining, actually, to be honest, because you stay out and wait for the rain to come or wait for the track to dry out. So look, I'm leaning towards 2-stop. So look, it's a good question, but yeah, so that's the race strategy. So sprint weekend, obviously we're talking about that. Let me just double check the tire compounds. I think it's 2 hards. Tire compounds for sprint F1 weekend. So 2 sets of the hards. They're going to be useless, I think. Oh, or are they? It depends if you want a 1-stop, obviously. I still think 2 would be the way to go. I think you'd just be dead with a 1-stop. You're going to die. It'll be tricky. It'll be close, but I'm leaning towards 2. So you've got 2 sets of the white tires. Not sure when you're going to want to use them. I wouldn't even use them in practice. 4 sets of the yellow stripe tires. That's the medium compound tire. I'd probably practice on that tire. Honestly, you're probably going to see a lot of guys practicing in first practice on the medium for that reason, and then see how many laps it can do, and then just form the strategy from there. So it's not too bad. You've got 5 intermediates and 2 wets. Valero, can you know if Williams appeal Franco 2 points or remains firm? Thank you. Good question. I'm not sure whether they're appealing it. This is probably a question for Cameron because he's up to date with all the news, you know. He knows what's going on. I don't think the 2 points was fair. I spoke about this in my race summary. I don't think the 2 points was fair. Franco's a rookie, like in his 4th race. Okay, they went off and they brushed the wheels, or he brushed front wing, like whatever, bit clumsy, but 2 penalty points is very harsh. The 10 seconds, you know, we have to, unfortunately, si eres Argentina, like, no escucha por un momento. If you're from Argentina, don't listen for a second. But to be honest, I think he did deserve the 10 seconds because of what we spoke about at the start of this video. Who's on the inside, who's first to the apex, who left the track, all of those, where's the apex, all of those considerations. Liam was on the inside. Franco attacked around the outside. If I was Franco's coach, and I'm trying to help him here through this channel, I'd be saying, don't go for the outside, mate. What are you doing? You know, just lift and wait for an opportunity to go up the inside. So anyway, Liam had the inside. Liam was first to the apex. Franco leaves the circuit. It's tough to not say he doesn't deserve a penalty. Like, you have to be pretty blind to think that he doesn't deserve a penalty in that case. Yeah, I mean, Liam said it was a racing incident. Look, he's just saying that. Like, he's saying that for the PR, right? He's saying that for the. I mean, even Lando said in some of Max's incidents, he's like, I don't think any of us should have got penalized. And, you know, like, they always say these PR things. The reality is Liam had the inside, Franco left the track, came back on the track, and it's dramas at that point. So look, I think that's all I wanted to cover, guys, is just to preview the strategy a little bit, the weather in Brazil, who's going to have the upper hand. I think it's going to be the Ferraris with their front end, what the strategy might look like, the general chaos that Franco needs to get out to stay out of trouble, how to manage the practice session going into qualifying. I'd be practicing on medium compound tires on a light fuel load because you want the car to be dialed in for that fuel load. There's no point setting up the car around hard tires around heavy fuel load, in a sprint weekend. I wouldn't recommend that. I'd go for the mediums on a light fuel load and get the car let's see what it's like in agile conditions. David B, you've responded. I personally think the variables are worth considering. I dare not to comment further. I was just curious. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky. Look, you don't really consider it sometimes because you've got to save fuel after the longer straight's probably the best chance. So like in Austin, for example, down the back straight into turn 12, that's a prime spot to do some fuel saving. And into turn 1 as well is another prime spot. All the DRS zones, whether it's uphill or downhill, these are opportunities to do some fuel savings. Henry Williams, I'm going to pin your message in the chat. Guys, ask me a question if you do. Thoughts on Oscar Piastri's recent struggles in qualifying? Mexico was a huge blunder because he had the pace all weekend. Give me a sec. Had the pace all weekend and he made a mistake in Q1. Yeah, look, I'm not sure. I think did I dive into it I did dive into it. He's just losing time in the slow speed towards the back end of the circuit, but there's time being lost everywhere. So it was the same. I looked at Oscar versus, go back and have a look at my Saturday analysis where I look at the telemetry. I look at Oscar versus Lando. I look at Franco versus Alex, and I look at Checo versus Max, because these three guys got kicked out and all of their teammates made it into Q3. So I'm trying to work out where their lap time is being lost. So check out my Saturday video after this live stream. Franco lost it all in turn 1, turn 4 under braking. Oscar and Checo, compared to their teammates, they lost it kind of all over the place, but also mainly in the back end of the circuit as well. So I'm not sure. Tire preparation, potentially they're overheating at the end when they're not ready at the start or something like that. The tires are very techy, there's dramas with these Pirellis. They've got a very narrow operating window of temperature. So it's probably that. Hawk, Robbie, how are you, mate? Good to see you in the chat. Let's get the message up. I'm going to pin your message, Robbie. Do you think Charles or Norris will finish second in the championship? Ooh, I'd like to think Charles because... I'd like to think Charles, just because I think that car will be better over the next couple of races. He blew an opportunity in Mexico. Obviously, that car won the race. So I'd like to say Charles, but I think everything will stay as is. I think Max will win, Lando second. I think Charles will stay third. Yep. Okay, about the 10 seconds, but the 2 points. Gosh, he's not Kevin Magnussen. That's our Argentinian friend here. If I'm not mistaken, is that correct? Yeah. Valero Paike. Yeah, the 2 points is too much. So we've already discussed that. If Ferrari continues, I back Charles. Yep, fair enough. Who wins next year? Or Ferrari, Hamilton. Why not? Mate, let's pin it. This is a good question. I think, and I've said for a while, the Ferrari is a good car. It's been a good car. We're talking about a car that won everything from Monaco to Monza. So that's low downforce settings, fast track to Monaco, which is bumpy street circuit, tight, twisty track. It's won Monza and it's won Monaco. So from a track layout point of view, it's been a good car, and it's won everything from Melbourne to Mexico, start of year to end of year. So the car's been good. I think the boys driving it, dare I say it, they're not as focused as what I would like them to be. Bringing Lewis Hamilton in is a great call, and I think he's gonna get some wins pretty quickly in that car. That's my personal prediction. So who wins next year? Hamilton, at least a few. Henry Williams, Oscar said he lost 1 second on the right. That lap was deleted entering the stadium section. Yeah, he went off there. He went deep. I think what turn is that? Is it turn 12? I'm not sure on the turn number. I know the one you're talking about, into the stadium after the DRS. He went wide on the corner exit. So yeah, that lap was deleted. So look, guys, I just want to recap and quickly finish off this video. Hopefully I've summarized Brazil and answered some of your questions. I've previewed it well. I want you guys to let me know in the comments section, when would you like to see these moving forward? Do you prefer a preview? Do you prefer a review? Do you prefer morning or night? Give me a day and time, or if you want Q&As as well. And then check out the membership section where it says join. There's a little video there explaining all of the options too. I'd love to answer your questions, but unfortunately I do have to run. So thank you so much. And I will see you. When will I see you? What's today? Today's Thursday. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow for practice. Yeah, cool. Enjoy the weekend. And my tip is